Buying parts like this are definitely going to change the game for us this year. That's pretty good. So I can do things like this that may make a significant difference on the output of that. What we have here is a boost control kit. I gotta get the CO2 filled up. Gotta get it installed on the white car. Guys, I'm always trying to do things in the channel that's gonna bring information that you might find value. But if you're curious to see what I'm actually talking about and why I really went to a Holley Terminator X, what I bought was a Motion Raceworks CO2 kit. Now, you don't have to buy this kit. It costs about 320 bucks, not including the bracket. But I figured if I'm gonna learn boost control, I'm gonna do it the right way first and then maybe see if I can do it more budget later on. We also bought a 557-201 Holley dual solenoid. Now you don't have to buy this. You can run 2 Mac valves with a bracket. I figured I would give this a shot first. I really think there's some horsepower and ET on the table. Let me tell you why. See, back in the day when we ran an A9L, a Motes Quarter Horse, you really couldn't control boost. We only really got to control boost via a manual boost controller. And let me explain how that wasn't exactly the most efficient thing for us. So the turbo would make power, but come to the manifold was our reference for our vacuum for our wastegate. Problem with that is when the wastegate finally see its reference, it was already behind. So we would get a spike, and then by that time the wastegate was already letting most of that boost out.
Best way we can explain it is to take you back to the dyno a couple months ago.
Dome pressure with a CO2 and an actual pressure sensor. A9L stock harness, and this is some of the issues that we're coming into, and this happened on the other turbo as well.
Well, it's worse on the other turbo. The dynamics of that gate and this motor, it can't hold it. I mean, up here at 6,500, 14.7. You've already stressed the motor here with the load you put on it, so it's not like this is gonna hurt the motor to run another 30 horsepower up here, but if we tried to just run 30 horsepower by upping this to 17, putting a lot of load on the motor down here where it's kind of pointless.
Looks like a straight line, right? With the Holley Terminator system, we could come in here and control boost and scramble and everything right here via this kit. And we could have the Holley solenoids control CO2, which is just compressed oxygen on the top of the wastegate, which you're gonna see us take apart in this video today. The CO2 would come in, be controlled by this solenoid on the Holley system. It would exit here and enter into the wastegate. And if there's too much in the wastegate, this other solenoid would activate and release the excess CO2. And it's instantaneous. What I mean by that is we're not waiting for the motor to make manifold pressure to use it as a reference. Instead, we're allowing the computer, while still using the manifold as a reference, it can control the gate way more precise and way more effectively. We were mechanically controlling the gate and it wasn't the most effective thing. So you can see why I have an interest in Holley. I think that's gonna make a significant difference in the horsepower and the ET of the way this car works. Guys, I'm not an expert at this stuff. This is all new to me. And whatever I learn here about Holley on the channel, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm gonna bring it to you. So in this video, the format, we're going to get this CO2 tank filled real quick, run over to the fill station, and we're gonna run the CO2 line underneath the sill plate up into the dash harness. We're gonna come out of the dash harness where I'm pretty sure we're gonna stick the solenoid where the old cruise control used to be. And then we're gonna take the old cruise control rubber, we're gonna cut it up a little bit and kind of cover it. This line's also going to get some convoluted tubing while it's outside of the cabin of the car. That's the game plan for the video. We're also going to be on the street today again as we're going to take the wastegate apart. Let's get over to the fill station, get this filled up real quick, and we'll come back and talk about it. All right, so we're going to run out real quick, make a quick lap. Not really going to put it on film. I did take the boost controller off. We're going to be changing the boost in the wastegate spring from like 15 pounds to like 6 or 7. And then just let the CO2 control the rest. So like I said, this is going to be like a continuation video. I'm not going to be able to do it all in one sitting. So where I'm at right now is we're going to jump underneath the car, grab the wastegate, unbolt the wastegate, get it up here in our vise. And just to reiterate on what we're actually doing, even though the CO2 is going to be controlling the boost, I still have to have a wastegate spring in there. I'll still be able to run on like 6 or 7 pounds of boost and be able to control another 10 into it or more. We'll see. So I think we'll just go ahead and remove our front wheel, get a jack stand, get it up on, that way we can mount the solenoid and get to our wastegate. Since I took the cruise control out, grommet spot right here would be a good spot to put this solenoid since my wastegate's on this side of the car. So it looks like we had the big boy blue spring in there. I think this is like an 18-pound spring. It only seemed like 10 or 11. So we busted out our precision turbo box, precision 66 millimeter gate. As you can see, there's like a stud to put more pressure on the gate or whatever. Looks like our big blue spring is like I said, I think it was 18. The large green spring, which is about half that boost. Might have to put a smaller spring in with it, but this should give me like 6 or 7 pounds of boost. But I think I'm going to go ahead and stick one of the smaller ones into the medium and smaller ones. Maybe we'll just put the green in by itself. Probably be able to just manhandle this one. Yeah. Sure. Okay, that's all set up with the smaller spring now. If I gotta go back and add a little bit, I'd like to see about 6 pounds on just the gate. This is gonna be my CO2 fill, and this is gonna be the 90, as it'll go something like this right here. And then both the CO2 and the harness for this, the GT150 plug, will follow up and around and come into the wheel well and go into the inlet. Okay, we got the wastegate mounted. We got that stuff aimed pretty good. These CO2 locks are kind of nice because they just like, it's a quick disconnect. Ended up getting our solenoid mounted here. Ended up using a couple old quarter panel long screws like self tappers. We're gonna come up and through these holes, which will end up coming back to the CO2 bottle that's mounted on the bar. And when I'm ready to run, I just crack my CO2, turn the tune on, and know it's ready to go. So, okay, we're on our way over to the fill station where I get my acetylene and my torches and everything filled. So we're still waiting on the bracket. The bracket's coming from Motion Race Works today, and along with a couple bus terminals for the wiring up of the CO2, but we should be done with it. Okay, we've done a lot of work since the last time I actually did a little bit of video on this. We actually ended up switching up the Holley sensor to the MAP Holley sensor, and also switching out to the Holley dome pressure. We're pretty much at the point now to where we're just wiring some stuff up, as we'll end up tucking it up under the dash. And just per usual, we're a hot mess here in the shop. So the Motion Raceworks bracket ended up showing up. We got the CO2 filled and mounted right here on our cage. We ran the CO2 line underneath into the dash. Came out here where the old cruise control grommet used to be and hooked it up right here. We still want to cover this up a little bit just to keep the stuff out of it. And we got a CO2 out, CO2 in. We got both of our outputs that's going to be hooked up on our Holley soon. The dome pressure sensor, and hooked it up at the top of the gate. With the dome pressure sensor and some CO2, but at least on this setup, I'll be able to control it. I'll be able to keep boost at 15 or 16 pounds where I want it at the higher RPMs. I skipped some of the install just to kind of move things along in this video. I got a buddy of mine, Corey, that's showing up from Psycho Racing, super good with the Holley system. He's gonna help me finish up a few of the things here in the car, just to go through some of the stuff I've already done with Holley and kind of maybe show me some ins and outs. All right, so I'm here with Corey from Psycho Racing. He does a lot of work with stripper glitter, and he helped me today with the wiring. I got a little bit of a wiring mess. We actually burned the battery out of my laptop, kind of messing with everything, but we got the CO2 hooked up, kind of going through, helping me set up a lot of the IOs. Pretty much at the point now, we're starting messing around with the boost curve, trying to figure out the dome pressure. Had a leak, and we fixed it. Yeah. A lot of things happened today that, if he wasn't here, would have probably taken me days to figure out if I had figured them out at all. Check that 12-volt switch. I would have automatically assumed it. So all we really needed, guys, was a couple things to make the car go a little bit faster. Right now, a little bit slower than what it was. We're going to creep in and get back into where we were at, but I think we're going to make that additional 10 or 15 feet at the end of the track that I've been looking for. So I do appreciate you coming out. And okay, I want to go back through this one more time. It's a pretty straightforward install. We mounted up the regulator, figured out some of the pressure settings. So we ended up having the bottle filled and set up mounted on the roll bar. We made a quick disconnect, and as you notice, we protected the line with a tubing, and we ran it up through the dash out of the cabin of the car. We ran the line outside the fender well here, and we attached it to the solenoid block. We made another quick disconnect with another set of the hose and tubing and ran it through the factory frame rail all the way over to the wastegate, where it attached to the last fitting on top of the wastegate. We ran it parallel with the harness of the dome pressure sensor that we were running. The last things we had to do was run the harnesses through the wire firewall once again behind the dash and wired them up over at the Holley. We'll clean this up, mount these on a board, and tuck them underneath the dash where they're nice and safe. So the install was pretty successful. Everything worked. We look forward to bringing the dyno and the tuning capabilities of this system on my car to the channel. I thank you guys for watching. Check out that join button below if you want to become a member of the channel. We will see you soon in the next one.